Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Valerie. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you've been here, thank you very much for still being here. I do realize that my schedule is a little just random. Honestly, I do videos when I can do them. I do have a full-time job, 8 to 5, so it's kind of hard for me to sometimes do videos, and on the weekends that's when I can catch up on all the house stuff and errands. So my schedule is kind of random, but I do try my best to at least put out at least one video through the week. So anyway, so today's video is regarding my in-laws, well, mainly my mother-in-law. I did have a previous comment asking if I can touch up on how I dealt with my mother-in-law. If you haven't seen my previous video regarding my mother-in-law, I'll go ahead and link it below, but I did have a lot of issues with my mother-in-law. I grew up very sheltered. I grew up in a home where there was just a lot of yelling. There was a lot of emotional, I don't even know if I want to say this, but emotional abuse. But as my family has grown, things have changed. Everyone has changed. We've all talked about it. We've all grown from it. So I don't like saying it because we're not there anymore. We all have talked about it. We've all, I don't know, what word would I use? Evolved? We've all evolved. And anyway, my point is, because I grew up in a home like this, I'm very quiet. I'm not very outgoing. I'm very, as a teenager and in my early 20s, I had a hard time speaking up for myself. I pretty much just let things slide. I was very oblivious to when I was treated a certain way. I was oblivious when I was being used. So I think that kind of contributed to how I dealt with my mother-in-law. I'm gonna do my makeup real quick, only because that's the reason that I decided, you know what, I was already doing my makeup and I'm like, wait a minute, let me just stop and do this video. So I would love to say that there's a way you can deal with certain people and the way they behave towards you, but honestly, I feel like there isn't. I feel like there is no right or wrong on how to deal, especially with family members, whether it's an uncle, an aunt, grandmother, in-laws. There's just there's no rules, there's no guidelines on how to deal with your own family and how they treat you and how they behave towards you. I don't know about anyone else, but I've watched other people's videos on their experiences with their family members. I ended up watching this video on this guy who was manipulated and had toxic parents that would take advantage of him, and he didn't end up opening his eyes on how he was treated by his own family until he was a grown adult. And I feel like just hearing other people's experiences and listening to other people's point of views on how to deal with family members, it helps. But I don't feel like there's a good answer on this subject, because I feel like it depends on your family member's growth. as I said, I grew up in a household where there was a lot of yelling. My mother was going through depression. Her depression really affected me as a child because I had to pretty much grow up on my own. I had to, sorry, that's my dog. I had to pretty much give up my teenagehood, my childhood. I wanted to play sports, and I mean, I did play soccer for a little bit, but I wanted to play sports. I wanted to hang out with friends. I wanted to do every normal teenage thing, and I wasn't able to because I had to be there for my siblings. Because of my mom's depression, and not just that, she worked a full-time job, so she was trying to do her best, so I had to step up and be there for my younger siblings. And but as when my mom, she got a divorce from my stepdad, and now they are so much happier apart as being friends rather than being a couple. So as adults, we opened up. We talked to each other. I opened up to my mom about a lot of things that were going on in my childhood. I opened up about how her depression and her anger affected me as a child, as an adult. And she fully accepts responsibility for everything, you know. I was able to, we were able to get through it. My siblings and I, we've been able to speak and grow, but not everyone's family is that way. Some people are set in their ways. Some people don't want to change. Some people can't move past that, and that's how it's been with my husband's parents. I don't know if they want to fix things. I can't speak on that because I'm not them. But I feel like with me and my family, when we spoke about the things that we needed to speak about, we all admitted our faults. We all accepted our roles in just everything that was going on. I had to let my dog outside. She's acting a little too much. Anyway, in my family, we all accepted everything. We all took part. We all laid it out on the table and said what we had to say. Everyone accepted their role in how things were when we were growing up. And our relationship is so much better. The relationship with my mom completely changed. She healed from, I mean, I'm not gonna say she completely healed, but she did heal from her depression and her anger, and she's such a happier person, which thank God. She ended up divorcing my stepdad. I mean, my stepdad's a good man, but I'm just saying, as a couple, they were really bad. They were toxic with each other, and she changed. She's such a happier person. Our relationship is so much better. Yeah, everything's so much better. But with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, they both don't want to accept the hurt they've caused, not only to their children, but to me. There was a lot of hurt. A lot of the things that they did were crazy. And it's funny because I feel like once you deal with things growing up, you don't want to treat other people the way that you were treated. You don't want to, you want your kids, you want your spouse, everyone to experience things differently. You don't want to treat them the same. I never fully sat down and spoke to my mother-in-law about the way she was with me. So I don't think she really understands how much she hurt me, how much she played a role in all the arguments, all the hurt and hate between my husband and I. She meddled a lot in our relationship. And now looking back, I kind of feel like she's the type of person that, that saying, keep your friends close but keep your enemies closer. I kind of feel like that's what she was doing with me. I mean, she would tell me that her mother-in-law was not great to her, so she wanted to treat me better. But I kind of feel like she didn't like me, and I felt it. I don't know if anyone has seen my previous video on it was a previous video I shared about how I'm an empath and how I can feel other people's emotions, feelings. I can feel when someone is being genuine and when someone is not being genuine. And when she was trying to have this relationship with me, when she was trying to be nice to me, when she was trying to behave like she was caring, I didn't feel it. I felt like it was fake. Like how she was towards me felt fake. It didn't feel genuine to me. And I mean, maybe she was genuine. Maybe that was just me, the way I felt it. But you gotta understand, like when I first met my husband, I had just turned 18 years old. So I was still a teenager. I was still a child. I was still impressionable. So when I first met her, I looked up to her a lot because of the way she handled herself with other people, the way she seemed so successful, the way she can handle any situation. As I said, I'm really like a shy person. I hate calling the doctor's office on my own. Like, I'm just such a weird person. Like, the way I grew up, again, contributed to how I am as a person. So I'm very shut down. I don't want to say quiet. I do talk a lot. When I was a child, I used to talk a lot, but as I grew and as I dealt with those situations, it kind of made me want to be quiet more. So I kind of admired the fact that she could just call up people and fix situations, like when she would call the bills and negotiate with them or make payment arrangements. I can't do stuff like that. Like, I have to do everything online. But what I'm trying to say is, when I was a teenager, I admired her. So I feel like I didn't see a lot of what she was doing. I mostly saw it through my friends. Why is my bangs acting weird? I mainly saw my friends were the ones to tell me that the way she was they could feel like she wasn't being genuine. There was a lot of situations where I had given her money. She did help my husband and I when we first had my son and my daughter. But at the same time, I paid my way. Like, I was giving her all my checks when I was first working. There was a time where she had told me she couldn't pay her mortgage or something because she was going through divorce, and I was living there, so it's obvious for me to help if I'm living there. But I remember I had gotten my tax money, and she had said that if I paid the full mortgage for that month, I didn't have to make my payment towards my car insurance because she would take care of it. But this is the thing with her. She would say one thing, and then when it came up to where you know, the whole situation, she would all of a sudden forget that she said it, and then she would deny that she said it in the first place. So when it came up to paying my car insurance, she said she never said it, that she never said that if I paid the mortgage, she would take care of the car insurance. So I'm not an argumentative person, so I went ahead and just took it. I'm like, okay, fine. And I paid the mortgage and the car insurance. But this is just one situation. She would do things like that a lot. She would say things and then later on say that she didn't say them. And again, I'm not an argumentative person, unless it's with my husband. My husband's the only person I argue with. But I've always been taught to respect my elders, so I never argued with her. I just pretty much took it. I talked about it with my friends, which is the reason that my friends would always say, like, look, this is not normal. You're being a pushover. You need to talk to her about it. And I'm like, no. I don't want to talk to her about it. I can't argue with people that have a strong personality. When there's a person around me that has a strong personality, I shut down. I start feeling like a turtle and I'm getting inside my shell. So she has a very strong personality. She's very quick to think when she's speaking. So it was really hard for me. When I saw her interact with other people, I kind of felt like, oh my God, I won't be able to speak my mind because she'll argue about it. And not just that, she wouldn't accept, even if she was wrong, she wouldn't accept she was wrong. She would argue until she was right, if it makes any sense. So I never argued. I just kind of took it. As I got older, I started trying to keep busy and just trying to avoid being in the same room with her because I didn't want to deal with her. I didn't want to deal with, again, if you've seen my previous videos, I didn't want to be dealing with hearing negative talk. She would talk very negatively about her own daughter, and I was that ear, so I was always listening to just negativity all the time. She always only wanted to talk about herself. Everything was about her. Again, she would take advantage of me, of my husband's, because it was her son. Like, even though we had our own little family, she kind of treated it as they go first and his family next. So I just started avoiding her, trying to keep busy the older I got. When I was 24, I joined the military and we ended up moving to Texas, and honestly that was the best time in our lives because and a relief to me because I didn't have to be around that, so I didn't have to figure out ways to deal with it. We moved and we were 9 hours away. She never went to visit us in Texas. When we came to visit, obviously we would see her, but it was so much better. When she started dating after her divorce, I didn't have to deal with her much because she was dating, so she used all her free time to be with whoever she was with. And then in 2016, we had a situation where we were living in her house and we ended up being kicked out. We ended up in the streets. Thank God we were able to pull out from that, but that I think was our breaking point. Especially the way she treated her son during that time. She pretty much saw her own son as a black sheep, and never in my family, even the way I grew up, I've never been treated that way. I've never seen anyone being treated that way. So it was really hard for me to see a parent treat their son like this. And that was my breaking point. Like, that whole situation was my breaking point. I completely cut her off. I blocked her on all my social media. I blocked her on my cell phone. We ended up moving 8 hours away. So it was easier for her not to just show up to my home. I switched phone numbers. All our phone numbers are completely new. Obviously, like, I can't force my husband to cut his family. I can't force him. He cut them off himself, but I did have a conversation with him, and I did tell him, if you decide to bring them back into your life, if you decide to forgive them, that is going to be your decision. You are making that decision for yourself. If you do that for yourself, that's going to be just you. Just you are going to be the one that makes that decision for yourself. You can see them, you can speak to them, because it wasn't just my mother-in-law, my father-in-law too. He contributed to that situation too. So if he ends up in the future forgiving them, that's on him. But I asked him to please not bring them back into our lives, or back into the lives of my children, because I don't ever want them to experience what we've experienced. I don't ever want them to be manipulated the way we were manipulated when we were younger. Now that we are apart from her, now that we're away from her, I feel like when I see things the way they were, when I see things now and think back on situations, first of all, it's been 5 years. It's been 5 years since the last time I've spoken to her. He's spoken to her within those 5 years, but it's been 5 years since I've spoken to her. It's been 5 years since my children have seen her. And just looking back, obviously I've grown. So looking back, I see now how we were being manipulated, how I was being manipulated. I pretty much took everything she said and believed it. I was very gullible. I was always defending her when I would have arguments with my husband. I was always defending her. I was defending her when they would talk a lot of negative things about her. Even when she would do things to us or me personally, I was always defending her. Even when my husband would tell me that she would tell him to leave me, that I was a B word. I don't want to say cuss word. I'm trying not to cuss in this video, but she would call me a B word behind my back, apparently, and my husband told me this, and yes, I do believe him, because there's no reason for him to lie about that. But yeah, that's pretty much how I dealt with it. I mean, I just pretty much cut her off. I'm much happier this way. If she's not willing to accept the way she behaved towards me, specifically me, her relationship with her son is completely different. But if she's not going to accept the way she treated me as a teenager, as a young woman growing up around her with her son, if she's not going to accept her mistakes, there's not going to be any growth. And if there's no growth, then there's no way for us to continue a relationship. That situation that happened in 2016, it's made me very wary of people. It's made me untrusting of people. I feel like I can't trust people now. I feel like I'm always second guessing people. I'm always feeling like, what are people's true intentions? And she created all that in me. She created all that mistrust in me. And I'm trying to work through it myself. But again, if I don't see any growth, then I don't feel like I can let her back into my life, and back into my children's life. Because I don't trust her. I don't want to be manipulated anymore. So I don't know how things are going to be. So yeah, anyway, you know what? I'm just rambling, but I'm really sorry for the person that commented for me to elaborate, to make more videos on this subject. I'm sorry if I didn't really help out. I mean, this was more me making like a video diary, so I apologize if this is not very helpful. But this is just me rambling on. Anyway, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.